Is the United Kingdom worth fighting for? In this video, former Tory leader Jake Berry joins Jeremy Kyle on Talk TV to discuss his defection from the Conservative Party and the critical issues facing Britain today. We'll also explore the leadership principle of change and what it means for the nation's future. Before we get into the details, if you love diving into political issues and enjoy hearing a principled take on them, then hit the like button, share this video, and subscribe to join the conversation. It will help our channel reach a wider audience.
Reform and we'll go, oh, this is just a fad. Myself, I voted for them, I've been honest with you in the past, because I felt they were speaking the language that the Tory party used to speak, and they were suddenly being accused of being far right, which I don't see. They've had organisational problems, they've had critics, they've had some fallings out with Rupert Lowe, and then the other one whose name I can't remember who suspended himself. Why'd you make the move?
Look, so it's a big thing changing political party. I've been a Conservative supporter for over 30 years. I'd got to the point, genuinely, I got to the point where I looked at this country and everything is going so wrong. I think Britain is broken. And I got to the point, my wife and I, we've got 3 kids, we were saying, is our next move to leave Britain? Genuinely,
really?
We were sat at home saying, the NHS doesn't work. Crime, I was mugged a couple of weeks ago in the street. We had an issue with one of our children in a play pot where someone came in with a knife. Crime is out of control. Public services don't work. And we were at that point, we were saying to each other, look, we really don't want to do this, but so many people we know have moved to Portugal or to Italy or to the UAE, Dubai or wherever it may be. And we sort of had a real chat. And I think, couples do this, whether, couples sit at home and go, what are we going to do next? And we both decided, look, Britain's worth fighting for. And I thought that, I don't think the Conservative Party have the answer. I think they're part of the problem. I think they messed it up. And I've been really honest and said, I was part of that too, but we can talk about...
Well, let's be honest, for me to stick up for you for once, right? Because it's okay to tell the truth, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a very unusual in politics, Jeremy.
You told Richie Sunak to shove any offer of a job where the sun don't shine because you knew he was the wrong man, you didn't want anything to do with it.
He was a bloody terrible Prime Minister.
Well, but I don't think people would know that. And when you apologise, they need to know that you walked into his office and you went, listen, mate, you're not the right person, I don't want anything to do with it. You weren't sacked, you told him where to go.
My exact words were, thank you, I won't serve. But look, and the British people can smell that. They can smell he's the right person. That's why they rejected him and the Conservatives. And so I got to that point, and I look at what reform stands for and what unites. Really interesting to hear from your person who's sending a message from Lincolnshire. I am an ex-Tory. What unites people who are coming into reform from, lifelong Labour voters in Scotland to people who supported the Liberal Democrats to people who've been in the Conservative Party? It is a party that is there to represent people who believe in Britain.
Yeah.
People who want Britain to be better. A party that listens to the public and says, look, we know things are bad and we're not going to try all these political game playings and, lines to take and not answering the questions. We're going to confront the issues. I think we've got to be honest that some things will take a long time to fix because Britain's gone so far down the road.
What's in all honesty?
Yeah. Confront the issues, but it's really interesting. I was watching an interview with Zia Youssef, actually, who's been very influential in reform. And someone said to him, look, well, the problem with Nigel Farage is he doesn't have enough policies. What's his policy on this? What's his policy on that? He said, well, number one, reform isn't just Nigel Farage, but the policy in the reform is whatever question you ask us, we will say, is this in the best interests of Britain?
Yeah.
And if the answer's yes, we'll do it. If the answer's no, we won't. And if look at
that, did they come for you, or did you go to them?
Well, it was a bit of both. It was a bit like a dance. But I'd known Nigel Farage for a long time. We actually started talking about elections in Wales because I think Reform got a really good chance in Wales, and it was just it sort of developed over time. For quite a long time, I'd been very, very unhappy with the Conservative Party and the sort of things they were doing. I voted against Rishi's crazy smoking ban, which I just couldn't believe a Conservative Prime Minister was taking freedoms away. I voted against his Windsor Framework deal, which I just thought was terrible and let the people of Northern Ireland down. I voted against large parts of the Rwanda bill to try and get him to toughen that up. I had just decided that he and the Conservative Party, and I'm sorry to say, not that I think she's a bad person, the new leader of the Conservative Party and the Labour Party just don't have what it takes.
Well, she didn't even ask about the Afghan thing.
That I don't think the Conservative Party has accepted how badly wrong they got it. And the truth is that, a lot of, it's not bad to change your mind.
No.
In fact, politicians should learn from mistakes. If you want a decent country, whichever party you're in, you should make a mistake and you should say, you know what, I won't make the same mistake again. And what we're hearing from the Conservative Party now isn't that they got it wrong, is that they weren't, the British people for some reason didn't understand them. It's almost like they think they didn't shout loud
Absolutely.
enough.
Let's talk about
Take a step back to where you started. You said people are being described as far right because people were saying, look, there's just something wrong here. There's people appearing in my town. I don't know where they're coming from. Let's not forget, 20% of all military housing is currently being used to house these people from Afghanistan that we didn't do. And people say, look, I just think there's something the government's keeping. It doesn't compute. There's something going on with immigration that we can't see, we're not being told about. They were the people labelled far right, conspiracy theorists, all this sort of, and guess what? They were absolutely right. And then the other thing is, I just think is, who's running this country? So, British taxpayers are shelling out 7 billion quid. To put that into context, taking away the fuel allowance from pensioners, that saved 1.5 billion.
1.5 billion.
So the benefit cuts, taking benefits from disabled people was to save 5 billion. Less than this magic amount of money they found on the back of the server.
Where is it?
It's government reserve, isn't it? £7 billion. It feels to people that, if you're a hard-working Brit who's paying tax, you might have an issue. I have a disabled child, right? You might have an issue with a disabled member of your family, or you yourself might be disabled and you need some more support. There's nothing for you. Nothing, in fact, to do with these people are Afghan or not. It's the fact that the government owes a duty to the British people to support the British people. And
a people is waiting for a man or a woman to arise. A real leader who is honest, who stands tall with character and integrity, and is ready with passion to lay his life down for his nation. Change, when executed well, can be found at the heart of progress. It's a catalyst for growth, not just for you as an individual, but for your family, your business, your community, and crucially, the government and politics that shape our society. Without change, stagnation sets in, and potential remains untapped. But change isn't easy. It demands discomfort. You can't transform what you're content with. True change begins when the status quo becomes unbearable, when you feel compelled to step up and become a change agent. As a leader, this means seeing the struggles of those around you, feeling their pain, and letting that empathy fuel your drive to act. A leader doesn't just observe hardship, they intervene, creating opportunities for growth and progress. The fear of stepping out of your comfort zone restricts you from fulfilling your greatest potential. But that is where real leadership is born. Change isn't just about reacting, it's about envisioning what's possible and taking bold steps to make it happen. A nation awaits leaders who will rise, men and women of honesty, character, and integrity, ready to embrace discomfort, lead with passion, and lay their lives down for their country. The principle of change calls us to act, to build a better future for our communities and our country. If you are frustrated with the government you see, that may be a sign you've been ignoring a greater calling to serve. The question is, will you find the courage to step up? Let's talk about it in the comments. If you have benefited in any way from this video, please subscribe, like, share, and be sure to leave us a comment.